All right. Hello, everyone. Today I'm gonna try to stream in English after a break. Let's see how it's gonna go. We have Josh Goldberg with us, who works at Code Academy. Josh actually hosted a bunch of meetups, but I don't think we ever had Josh talk, right? Did we? No. So it's so. Josh are you staff engineer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it
That's
like
me.
more senior than senior?
Yeah, it's not very clear. I think I was senior, and then they wanted to give me more responsibilities and tell me to do more stuff. So now I'm staff, but it's about the same.
Okay, that's cool. Today we're gonna contribute to the tool which will allow us to migrate from tslint to eslint, right?
That's
Perfect.
correct.
And then we wanted to look a little bit into news first. Let me make your screen larger for me. Cool. And this is the first time I'm actually trying to, in a while, when I'm not the one sharing the screen. So we'll see how this works. Yeah. So I have.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
So let's tell us. Did you have some contributions to TypeScript too?
Yeah. I haven't gotten anything merged too recently. I think there are maybe some small things in 4.3. But the biggest thing that I'm really excited about with TypeScript 4.3, I'll maximize this one, is the author of Webpack actually noticed some pretty big performance issues with the dash dash incremental and dash dash watch compilations with the relatively still new project references mode, where TypeScript can consider different discrete parts of your code base to be their own projects,
Mm-hmm.
and sent a pretty awesome pull request that improved performance there a lot, which is I can confirm this does help with initial build times quite a lot on fresh repository installs. So I'm pretty excited about it.
That's really cool. Sorry, I just mute myself. Okay, so Tobias Coppers is the person.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
They noticed that when you're in incremental or watch mode, TypeScript does a lot of work upfront to set up some of the files, specifically the .ts build info files, and logic around them to understand your project references and compiler dependencies across them.
Mm-hmm.
So now that they're lazy, thanks to Tobias's pull request, initial startup build times for TypeScript projects are back down to how they were without TypeScript project references. So it's a cute little performance upgrade, I think, that really helps out with medium to large size repos.
That's cool. All right, and then anything else you want to talk about TypeScript, the new TypeScript? Anything else you're
Ooh,
excited?
where was it? I remember asking for this a very long time ago, but
Mm-hmm.
in some more strongly typed languages like C Sharp, you can explicitly declare methods of classes to be overridable,
Yep.
and otherwise they can't be. And
Mm-hmm.
TypeScript for a while did not have such a thing. But now they added a specific flag for no implicit override where you have to mark that particular uh, methods must or can be overridden in classes. And I personally don't really use classes in JavaScript too much anymore. I just haven't felt the need, and I think the community typically doesn't use them for a lot of stuff.
Do you
But
use React at work?
I do use React, but we're all hooks now, so we've stopped writing React
Mm-hmm.
classes.
That makes sense. Yeah, because we're still on Angular, so I'm. So is override new or just a flag?
You know what? I believe that it's a new keyword. Yeah, it's a new keyword that you can add in. Uh, so this specifically would allow the child method to override the parents method.
That's cool. I can see starting to use this soon because in Angular it's classes with classes, so
Yeah.
that looks very useful. Cool.
I do feel a little bit of imposter syndrome coming out here as a React developer with the big Angular time title, but I feel like JavaScript is a friendly enough and common enough language that we can still get along nicely.
Oh no, I didn't realize. I probably still have Angular time. I think in Twitch. I just don't know how to update it. So it just says Angular time for everything. I'll hopefully fix it in a couple streams. But yeah, so
Gotcha.
it's all frameworks welcome. Cool. And then did you have much to say about the Flow announcement? That was pretty interesting. They basically came out and say, now we only care how Flow will work at Facebook. And you guys figure it out, right?
Yeah, which is fascinating because Facebook has so many big, powerful open source projects like React, and then this thing is kind of bucking the trend there. I was a little annoyed at first. I've never been a big Flow person. I've
Hmm.
always just used TypeScript and didn't see the need to switch to Flow. It's nice having competition in the space, but also I have yet to see features in Flow that lasted more than 6 months that warrants either things I didn't want or things that eventually got added to TypeScript. But it
Hmm.
is interesting because it's kind of bold and brave for them to say that this is really specifically targeted to their code base. Like they know, I think, that they can't compete with TypeScript for the small to medium sizes. It's just not a priority. And to be fair, there is a lot of overhead in doing things with the open source community the way TypeScript does. Like
Hmm.
I send a pull request once in a while that touches whatever 200 files. 10 of them are source codes. 190 of them are test updates that now the maintainers have to either tell me to shove off or more likely review individually for each of these test changes, and it's a lot of time.
Hmm.
So it's it's an interesting experiment, I think, having an open source project that's explicitly not friendly to other directions from what the team needs. So yeah, I think it's cool.
Okay, I also kind of feel the pattern which Facebook does with multiple projects when they would have Jest and everybody would get like super hyped and excited, and then they'd kind of like slow down and stop supporting it for a while, and then people get mad and then they come up with like a new version. So it's interesting. Like I think this is first time I see them taking a different approach, where just say like, okay, we don't support it and we don't support it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Also.
Just was fun.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry.
I
Oh,
think they had a new version, right, for Jest.
yeah, was it just 27 or some such recently?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Just is a great project, and I think it does a lot of things better than a lot of its competitions in specific spaces, um, but which you can't really say for Flow except for the really large repo support or
Hmm.
inferred types.
So
So yeah.
what Flow does for like really large repos, which kind of make it, I don't want to say better than TypeScript, but more focused
Uh,
on larger repos.
Better than TypeScript is such a taboo word or taboo phrase these days. I don't personally use it, nor have I ever worked at Facebook. But
Hmm.
my what I've been told, my understanding is that its performance is really good, that it has really good lazy computations, and allows you to only check parts of the code base that are changed rather than the entire code base, which is not quite as well done with TypeScript. They've just focused on other areas. So when you have 10 million lines of code, Flow really is optimized for it. But again, this is just hearsay. I shouldn't take my opinion as the source of truth. Also, hi, Dan DP.
Hey Dan. Uh, cool. All right, let's start moving towards the writing some code. And then, yeah, if anybody has any news they want to discuss related to TypeScript, send us in the chat. But let's look at the code. Let's see what interesting issues we have open.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on here. This is an opportunity for me to show my stuff off. So, yay, much
Yeah,
appreciated.
I'm excited, and I think this is first time I'm doing stream in English in a while. So that's also an interesting experiment.
Um, yeah, I had forgotten. But yeah, so I wanted to talk today about these badges aren't loading, but a project called tslint-to-eslint-config. For those who might have used tslint back in the day, your time is up. The tslint project, which is a linter specifically built on and for TypeScript, is deprecated. That project is no more. And in fact, if you go to the Palantir/tslint repository on GitHub, it's got a nice big archived and deprecated notice, and you should use TypeScript ESLint now is the common suggestion. So TypeScript ESLint is a TypeScript plugin for ESLint. It's a parser and a set of rules and a few other things that allow you ESLint to pseudo-natively run on TypeScript code. which then leaves us in this huge situation where you have all these projects with a million tslint customizations and rule settings, and now we have to move them over to eslint.
Right. But do you know like why the decision was made? Like what was wrong with tslint?
I quite liked tslint, but there were a few things off with it. For starters, we had both types, tslint and eslint at the same time, which was really confusing to a lot of people. I have a Twitter search in my tweet deck for tslint, and you constantly see people complaining about features and not knowing if the feature bug was in tslint or TypeScript eslint or eslint itself or TypeScript. So there was a lot of duplicate work going around, a lot of confusion. So that was one big thing. Also, there was that eslint has a somewhat more optimized performance. The way the rules are structured is much more friendly to parallel rule running or kind of more scalable declarations. Where tslint rules, you have to manually crawl through the entire source tree of every file. You have to like go through every file individually, and eslint rules allow you to hook onto events like whenever it visits a class or whenever it visits a function.
Oh, I
which
see.
makes it a lot more performant.
And then TypeScript eslint, did you also work on that? I know you did some contributions.
A little bit, not too much. Mostly, if you look at the contributors, it's mostly a few folks. Brad and James and Armano. Funny enough, Brad's actually, I think, at Facebook, so he has a really good perspective on the flow stuff, I'm sure. And then James has been focusing a lot recently on the Angular toolkit, like the Angular eslint schematics and such, which allow you to use eslint with Angular really nicely.
Okay, and then the way I understand it is, well, eslint, it just parses JavaScript with, do you know what it uses under the hood? Is it like Babel or?
Yeah, eslint comes with a default parser, which I actually don't know what that default parser is, if it's Babel or whatever the default is. I remember there's an ES query playground you can use if you're interested, where you can like find little ES query snippets here. For those who haven't written eslint rules before, this is really fun. You can query the tree of the nodes, rather the source file, as if it's CSS. Like if you look up for something where the ID is bar, you find that we found a function declaration where the id.name is bar, and that finds this thing.
Oh, cool. So you can type the code on top, and then you can query it like it is CSS.
Yeah.
What's ID, though, in the query?
I have no idea why it's ID.
Okay.
That's just how it is. But if you do something a little simpler, like name equals X, you'll find... Let's make it a little simpler. If we have just a variable declaration... Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yes, query. Cool. So basically what you can use this, does eslint provide esquery? Or like, yes, that's the tool you use in eslint to make the rules, right?
Yeah, your rule might look something like JavaScript. Like eslint will, say you have a create rule function. eslint will provide you a context where you can say you return an object where you say like name equals X. And then whenever you find something you don't like, you can say context.reports on the node. Oops. Let's say this would be a very simple mockup of an eslint rule that queries for all nodes where their name is X and then complains that you shouldn't name things X. Or more realistically, maybe we don't want to call things foo, because that word is, who knows what that means. So then this rule would find, say, the variable names foo and then complain on it. So
okay, that's cool.
This little query thing is kind of consistent across eslint rules, and now they've adopted it so you can also run queries on TypeScript code, which is a big advancement for TypeScript eslint.
And then what eslint TypeScript does it changes the parser at all, or?
Yep, so instead of using whatever the default is, which honestly I can never remember if it's ES Prima or Babel or some other thing, It switches it to the TypeScript ESLint parser, which has, these docs are quite verbose, but there is a parser explanation somewhere on here. Oh, here we go. ESPre is the default parser. And then it switches it out for TypeScript ESLint parser, which adds in TypeScript specific nodes on top of it. Things like type declarations and interfaces.
Oh, is it like somebody wrote a completely separate parser for it, or is it just a wrap around something?
I've been meaning to learn this. I believe.
Probably can quickly take a look.
Yeah, how does that work? Cool.
Let's see what it imports.
Good call. So the biggest looking one is parse and generate services and TypeScript ES tree. So that looks like the whole thing. And parse and generate services creates an AST or abstract syntax tree. So yeah, it looks like repo. It looks to me like they're parsing the TypeScript source code and with a separate parser and turning it into something that coincidentally matches up the standard ESLint type.
Okay, so I guess
That's nifty.
Oh, so the goal was for it to be compatible with ES3. Do you know what ES3 is?
Yeah, that's the specification for the types of code that you can query here. Yeah. So it's a way to describe the syntax. Like if you have an identifier, which would be this little fella here, the identifier.type might be, I don't know, identifier, and then it might have a name value equal to the name of the identifier.
That's cool. It's actually seems a bit less scary than the other abstract syntax trees I've seen before. Cool. I like the once upon a time an unsuspecting Mozilla engineer created an API.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who was that?
Cool. So basically, what TypeScript ESLint does, it under the hood, it just provides this format with a bit more different identifier, like different types of nodes, right? With like, okay, cool. And then basically what you do then, you create a rule specifically for TypeScript. And are they in ESLint or are they in a separate repo?
They are in a separate repo. There is a big monorepo TypeScript ESLint that has all of the rules here. I've got one open by coincidence. So they look pretty similar to regular ESLint rules. We have a little bit more VS Code. There we go. You can have these somewhat complicated queries in your rules for. This looks like a call expression.
Let me see if I can figure it out by. So we have a call expression with exactly one argument, and inside there is a callee with a property name match. I don't know what computer. So it's like something dot match, and then you call. You have to pass what more properties. So it seems like something related to regular expressions, right? You're trying to match something, but you only have exactly one argument. All right, that's so. What's the answer?
You're right. You're absolutely right. This is for a regular expression matching logic, where you might have some code like this, where this is a call expression, as in you're calling something. There is exactly one argument happening, and the thing that's being called is a member expression, getting the member of something, where the property name is exec, and it's not computed, meaning it's not something like this, where it's just a member. It's not some kind of array syntax.
Got it. So to see the AST generated by this code, which tool would you use?
Oh, there are a couple really good ones. I personally really enjoy ASTExplorer.net because
Mm-hmm.
it has all the different ASTs. So
Oh,
if you
it
want to look
already
at
has
the,
the nice.
yeah, and then this visualization is beautiful. You can see it as like this collapsible JSON
Mm-hmm.
statement, and you can hide the T's you don't really care about. Like I know everything has a type equal to its name, so you can hide those. I don't really care about the range.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see here things that are specific to TypeScript always have a TS and then whatever it is
Mm-hmm.
in the name. So like this TypeScript TS type annotation was added by TypeScript ESLint parser.
Ah, I see. So it's namespace. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so let's look at the dot exec thing. How the tree looks. Oh no, in the AST Explorer.
Uh,
Just I think I can just
so
click
we
on
have
exec, right?
this specific one. Yeah,
Yeah,
call expression, member
yeah.
expression,
So
property.
so we can see all the familiar things. Yeah, and then I just want to add for people who think AST is something scary. Abstract syntax tree is basically just like a piece of JSON, and I personally think it's easier to manipulate it than DOM tree, to be honest. But cool. Hi, Bikibo, aka Fox. Cool. All right. So how about maybe we can also look at like a couple simple rules just to get understanding of what they look like.
Sure. Not sure off the top of my head which ones are particularly simple. Um, hmm, let's see. Oh yeah, return or wait. Oh God, no. See, the problem with this is a lot of these rules do get a lot more complicated, but
Mm-hmm.
it's because they have a lot of edge cases to deal with. Most of them are actually conceptually pretty simple. Ooh, no namespace. Yes.
Okay.
Here we go. This rule is 81 lines of code, including all the metadata and docs. Really, it's from lines 15 to 81,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, half of that is declaring the schema for the options, where you might allow declarations or allow definition files, whatever that means. But here we have a rule that bans the TS module declaration,
Mm-hmm.
which is this. Um, I'll open up a new file for this. Like you used to be able to do things like module hello world,
Mm-hmm.
which was this old syntax that got renamed to namespace hello world because
Okay.
it has nothing to do with the actual ES modules and is just very confusing for people.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Uh,
called tried to renamed it to namespace. And what it actually compiles to is this object const hello world. And then you can add things like this.
oh, this is like a very, very old thing, right?
Yeah, this is old, and the team is pretty adamant that you
You
really
not
shouldn't
use
use
it.
it.
That has a like a Google closure feeling.
Yeah,
Yes.
which is a really interesting debate for another era of time of whether TypeScript should have or whether it should add in these things to map to really common patterns in JavaScript code. Like, should it add syntax for things like namespaces or enums? And
Mm-hmm.
namespaces now, the answer is definitely no. We have real modules, but enums are still kind of
Yeah,
people debate a
it's
lot.
seems like enums are pretty useful, at least at least
Yeah,
for me. All right.
yeah, I go back and forth.
Cool. So let's see how it's implemented, and then we can look into issues and see if we can pick something interesting and fix it.
Sure. So do you want to take another guess at this one?
I mean, this was so it looks for a node of a type of TS module declaration, which I guess it's called module, but it's for namespace, or maybe it actually is looking for the actual module.
I think your initial guess was right. Module declaration.
Oh, okay. So I guess we have some legacy naming here.
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks for a namespace thing, and it has ID. I don't know what ID is, but what? Okay, we cannot. Uh, can we go to ES query and just literally like paste the code you have on the right and the selector?
I actually, I don't know of a way to do that. I haven't found a good ES Query Playground that has
Oh, it doesn't know
TypeScript
TypeScript?
support.
Ah,
The other one that other people, TSAST Explorer,
mm-hmm,
use, or TSAST Viewer. I am told that this one is pretty good, but I don't know how to extract a query out of it.
mm-hmm,
This one is TSAST Viewer, and it actually gives you the TypeScript specific code to create the AST, but this is just the TypeScript AST.
mm-hmm.
It's not the ES lint parser version. Yeah, we can see the ID. So we can kind of guess at the query for this here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to close that window where the ID.type is identifier. And I don't know actually why this one complains about or it needs the type to not be identified. I didn't know you can. Yeah, I didn't know you could have a non-identifier for the ID. But anyway,
Okay.
the only other reason why you might have global would be if you're declaring global namespace
Mm.
or declare.
So
Now I actually don't know how to
global
do this.
global is fine.
I'm not sure.
I mean, it specifically says not global.
I guess so.
Okay.
I'm guessing this is so that DTS or definition files, which describe how JavaScript not written in TypeScript works, are allowed. So that you might be able to say that some other person in JavaScript land wrote this stuff, and we just have to assume it exists in TypeScript.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So let's see. So we search for this specific how it's called, like query, and I assume like there is also a way to do it without query, because probably not everything can be matched to a query, right?
Yeah, typically what you'll do is you'll query as deeply as you can, and then
Oh,
you'll do any other
and then you have a
shenanigans.
bunch of ifs. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they look at the parent, and the parent has to be module declaration, which makes sense, and allow definition files. I assume this is some configuration passed to ESLint, right? Or like in the ESLint config files.
Yes. So on the very top of any ESLint rule, you have a whole bunch of metadata that people typically put. One of those pieces of metadata is the schema, which declares what type of options you're allowed. And on this one, we can see two options are allowed: declarations and definition files being allowed. And they're both type Boolean.
How do they handle collisions if somebody in a different room different rule says, "Oh, allow declaration is a string" or something?
This is specifically for this rule's config. So if you
Oh,
look
so
at,
you
let's
go
say,
like no namespace dot allow declarations, right?
you would say, no,
I see.
wonder if this place ever actually configures it. But yeah, you would have rule-specific settings that these are describing, these schemas. It's like no extraneous dependencies is described specifically with this object in the ESLint config.
Cool. Okay, so let's get back. Scroll down a little bit. Right, so we look, and if it's a definition file or if it's a declaration, and then on declaration is on line 53. No declare. Anyway, so we basically do nothing, and otherwise we report this node and we pass the message ID. And then we pass message ID because so we can translate it, or how does it work?
I actually don't know if translation is doable. I feel like this message ID thing leads to that. But in general, yeah, you can either pass a message like a specific string or a general string, or you can pass a message ID. And actually, message ID allows them to type check. In TypeScript ESLint, they have very strict typing. So if you, let's say, mess up the message ID, it lets you know that it's not one of the allowed ones.
Wait,
and that also means you can. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
How do they do it? Or do they specify the type of the function? Can I?
Yeah, this util.create rule has a generic which takes in the message
Oh,
IDs as a type.
oh, oh, I see. And then there are like multiple message IDs, then they just do like pipe another message ID.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Here, let me undo all my changes.
I expected more magic there. But okay.
Yeah, yeah. Some of these rules have quite a few different message IDs.
Hmm.
Um,
I see. And they're
I've
also local.
uttered that phrase a lot here. I've expected more magic. A lot of this stuff is actually pretty straightforward.
Hmm. Cool. Okay, so that seems like pretty straightforward. So all you need to know is what are all those types of nodes and stuff. So let's see what issues are out there, which we can
Let's do it.
fix.
Cool. So a lot of these issues end up being like either very specific to some rule or general to the infrastructure.
Okay.
Like let's look at, ooh, here we go. Uh, a bug in prefer read-only parameter types cannot read property flags. This actually looks really good.
Okay.
Um, oh, someone mentions in the chat 240 issues. Can I just go home? A lot of these issues are edge cases that no one has really wanted to pick up. And so I kind of don't go past the first couple of pages. It's like a 3-year-old issue that, like in my custom code, I want this very specific option and no upvotes. But this one looks good.
Okay.
Specifically, this rule is crashing.
All right. So
Not the property flag.
let's look at the rules. Right. Prefer read-only parameter types. Oh, I see. So if you're just using like array, it will tell you use read-only array, right?
I've never actually played with this before. Let's look at the docs. That sounds right. Oh yeah, yeah, cool.
Is not read-only. Ah, okay. Tuple has to be also read-only. Uh-huh.
This is funny. This one says that although all the properties of this object are read only, the object itself is not read only, so it must be. Sure.
Wait, which one? Not all. Oh no, this
I
one
was
says
talking.
the prop 2 is not read-only, right? So
Oh yeah, you're
yeah,
right. You're right.
so prop 1 is read-only. Okay, so I think I understand what it does. So for some very, we can probably look at the code and see how complicated it is.
It's less than 100 lines. That's
Nice.
not so bad.
Okay. Let's see what how many messages we have. Message IDs. Oh,
Only
just one.
one.
Just one. Okay. So node params. Okay, I don't know if I understand the question. And by the way, if you wanna ask questions in Russian, I can translate them to Josh. But what's your default answer for people who want their specific use case?
I'll note that although I am training up to be a maintainer of this project and was a maintainer of tslint, this is just my opinion. I am not yet influential. But normally I would say that's a soft balance. There's no hard line to draw between things that should be done and things that shouldn't. The general ideology I follow is that if a lot of people have this specific use case, then as long as it's applicable to normal common JavaScript conventions, it's a good idea. Like if it's the type of thing that you should in general be doing with JavaScript, and that there's a reasonable like common opinion in favor of that, then yeah, we should have that. So like prefer read-only parameter types is good because although quite a few projects explicitly don't want read-only parameters, it is popular enough and somewhat good practice that we should at least have it available as a general rule set. But if you were to try to do a thing like you should only declare a class with a prefix like my class, then no, that wouldn't be something we'd allow in the general rule set. That would be a custom rule.
That's fair. So no classes prefixed with retarsius, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But you're more than welcome to make your own custom rule and custom plugin and share that so that everyone has to name their classes retarsis or something.
Okay. And then the Fox says that if we fix 6 issues every day, we only need 40 cups of coffee. Okay. So Fox, you can start fixing now. See you in a little bit over a month. Cool. So we can fix this one, I think. So they run it and they get cannot read property flags of undefined, and they even have a call stack, right?
So beautiful. I love it when people add call stacks. There should be a law. You always have a call stack.
All right. Let's see where the useful part is.
Oh, wait, a lot of this call stack comes from tsutils, which is a lovely package made by a former tslint maintainer that's used all over the place in like TypeScript community code. It adds a bunch of really useful functions.
You want to show what it does?
Sure. So if you do a search for tsutils in TypeScript ESLint, you see it all over the place. It's just a whole bunch of really useful random things. Like, and these are all things that are written on top of the TypeScript APIs. You could rewrite them yourself. But things like is venable type, which takes in a type checker and a type and the node and returns a bool for whether it's a venable type for promises. So much appreciation.
It's promise-like.
Yes. And you can look at the JavaScript equivalent for it quickly, and these are all 5 to 15 line functions. None of them are particularly huge or complex. It's just really nice to have this shared set of utilities that works.
Yeah, it seems like TypeScript doesn't even provide like anything implementing a visitor pattern. You have to go like walk the tree yourself, which is kind of weird.
Yeah. If you'll forgive me, I have a gripe with the TypeScript compiler APIs. There's still no assignability checker that's available publicly, which makes linting rules really hard to write if they need to compare whether a type is assignable to another type.
Oh, so like
so we've had to write our own.
Whether there would be an error if you assign A to B?
Yeah. So like imagine if you're trying to write a rule that checks for whether let's say whether a function, let's say, has a redundant type annotation. Like this one, we know that the colon number is unnecessary because, well, number is 3. And there is a rule for this, no inferable type. So like, what if you were to do like number array? Like, how would you know if this thing is redundant? Or like, let's say you have like number or string array, which defaults to 3, hello. Like these can get more and more complex, and there's no built-in API to TypeScript's type checker that allows you to check whether this type or the type at this node is assignable to the type at this node or vice versa.
But don't we kind of assume that if TypeScript didn't complain, it's assignable?
Yeah, if you were running the code. But when you're in an ESLint rule, let's say, and you have just access to the type checker and the node, and you don't have access to the compiler complaints or the type checking complaints. Like let's say that we would want, let's say, to add a lint complaint here saying like error unnecessary, and then suggest a fix where the person might be like, I don't know, just remove this line or this section of code. Like there's no type checking complaint. There's no error. It's just we see something we don't like and we want the person to get rid of it. Yeah. So that's why we have libraries like tsutils that do some of the work for us here.
Interesting. Cool. But do you have a similar rule or not yet?
The rules so far, I think just does. Here we go. Primitives. Yeah, it'll just check for primitives. Where if you say like big int equals 10n, it'll tell you to get rid of the colon big int. But nothing fancy, nothing with string arrays or objects.
It's, yeah, it sounds pretty complicated. So many edge cases.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So how are we gonna fix this? Are we gonna reproduce it? Do
Let's
we
do that.
do we start with a test?
Sure. I like the way you think.
Yep.
Every rule has a test file.
Nice.
Also, you're gonna love this.
Okay.
The tests have an absurd amount of custom lint rules around them. There's a
Okay.
lint rule to make sure that they're formatted well with Prettier, with an auto fixer.
Oh,
Are you a fan of Prettier here?
pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of not having to worry about formatting. But at work we use some, I think, C-lang format or some like weird stuff. But I'm pretty happy about Prettier. How how did they even do that? Do you need like a special plugin for VS Code or?
Let's see. It's natively in ESLint and plugin test formatting is the rule name. Okay, so this one looks a little more complicated, but I'm betting that it's at the end of the day, it's probably calling to format from Prettier, and then uh, making sure that the test cases string is equivalent to the formatted version of the test cases string.
Wow. Wait, but do you have to install it as a plugin for VS Code? Like, how does VS Code know to?
Oof. VS Code has an ESLint extension,
Uh-huh.
which surfaces ESLint complaints. Like if you were to do this,
Oh.
it would give you the same complaints. And so because this is a set of rules enabled only for development on TypeScript ESLint, it goes through the normal ESLint flow.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Is that the answer you were hoping for?
Yeah, that's very interesting. So basically, you have a standard ESLint extension for VS Code, and then you just create kind of custom rules just for your project, basically, and then VS Code. That's very cool. VS Code highlights it. I never thought
Yeah.
about it, but it sounds like a very cool idea for some things.
Yeah, I highly recommend projects making their own custom rules. It's really useful. If you have styles, let's say you want all classes to begin with the word retursus, like there are a lot of really project-specific cool things that you can reinforce with your own custom ESLint rules.
That's cool. All right, so we have our test. Rule tester run.
Yes.
We have a
And
rule. Uh-huh.
so this is the test file for prefer read-only parameter types. And
Okay.
I'm gonna comment
So
out all the tests.
those are a bunch of valid things, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So there is
And
no kind of like dot only like in Jasnian. It's a kind of custom framework.
one of these days I will file an issue asking for a dot only to be added. But in the meantime, yeah.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it does use, I think, jest.
Oh,
Just
inside
basic
the.
jest.
Mhm.
There we go.
Okay.
Got all the lint rules. Okay.
Aha, fixed.
Now,
Okay.
yarn tests prefer read only pre-watch.
Do you need a yeah
I think I need to be
read only
specific.
for uh-huh.
There we go. And I included two. I think I need to do a build all to get rid of that complaint. But aha, we have a repro.
Nice.
Yay.
Cool. So let's look at the example and let's understand what exactly is going on in that role.
Yes. So the actual complaint is that we're checking whether an object. Oh, I forgot to turn off dash coverage. The complaint is that we're checking whether it's a type read-only object, which is, where does that come from? Oh boy. So I'm just flipping through quickly, but in the stack we see is type read only, which is a function, haha, being called here. So we're checking whether this type is read only. Let's see.
Cool.
I always forget if my VS Code is configured properly for debugging these tests.
Oh. Also, can we look at the test example just to understand what will be caught by the query? Because so we have a type, which
Oh, I see what you're asking here. I'll get them both up at the same time.
right. So it's map of list of things, and the value can be either cat or dog. I don't think it's even a valid type, or TK. Okay. And then the method. Do you understand what's going on here?
For this type specifically?
Yes.
Yeah. I think this is a type that takes in an original type and then outputs a new type. We can actually open it in a
Typescript
separate.
Playground.
Yeah.
Or here too is good. Yeah. Okay.
I call this a TypeScript Playground, but yeah. So let's say we have type my results equals my type of apple true. So the result type would be everything in the original type is either the original or cat or dog. So the result would be apple is true or cat or dog.
Oh, so then you can assign apple is dog to the type. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Now it makes sense. So we have a method where we have a generic, which is string array, a list of strings by default, and it's an array. And the value is of this generic type. Okay. And then we just return the value.
Yes.
So when we go with like method of cat and dog, that's weird. Isn't it supposed to be object? That's an incorrect code, right?
Let's find out. So I will note, by the way, that this seems like completely useless and silly type, but it's reduced from something that I'm hoping is a little more
Probably
useful for production
useful
code.
and smart.
Yeah.
Why does complain about type on top? Is it just?
This is a weirdness with the ESLint
Got it.
extension. Yeah, because
Got
I'm on a file.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's say my self equals my type of cat dog, where this method call has the A to be an array of, what is this an array of? Oh, it's an array of string is what it resolves to. So
Okay. So it allows to put array of strings.
I think I see what's happening. It's reducing that every member of the original type is either a cat or a dog or the original member. But here all the members are strings, so it's cat or dog or string, which is just a string. But if we were to change it to, let's say, number, new, everything in the array would be number or cat or dog.
Okay. Oh, right, because, okay, it makes sense. So before we did it with an object, now we do the same with array.
Yeah. And it just happens to work that the syntax magically allows this thing. In theory, you could ask that TypeScript restrict it so that you have to explicitly say it's an array, but in practice, they just use the same object syntax for both arrays and objects in these mapped types.
Okay, so method of cat and dog returns an array which can only have cat or dog as values? line 11.
Line 11, TypeScript infers this to be a string array rather than an array of cat
Okay.
and dog.
Oh, because it's not okay, got it.
Not read-only.
So if we make it read-only, will it be array of cats and dogs or no?
It would be.
Oh, it cannot even.
Well, here the value, the parameter isn't read-only.
Okay.
So now we have method.
Any.
What is going on here? What is happening?
That did not help. Yeah. Okay, I don't know on top of my head how to fix it. Let's see the second method.
This is why I really enjoy not working on TypeScript, by the way, because the TypeScript team member would have to not only understand why that's any, but also be able to explain to you why that's either a bug or the correct inference, and that's not something I want to have to do with my life.
Okay, so this mouse, cat, dog, or mouse. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. I think I have a good understanding. How about we remove either line 75 or 76 and verify that it's still breaking?
Love it. Let's do that. So, my terminal's getting all weird. Yarn test prefer read only. I'll just remove the second one because it's more complicated, and I'm hopeful that the simpler one is what doesn't, or what does work. I think this weird unhandled promise rejection warning is a complaint that it works. Because if we add it back in, it does give the crash.
Okay. Let's verify.
Oh, nope.
What's happening?
I broke something and I don't know what.
Yes.
Nope. What I'm probably going to have to do is yarn build, which might take a little bit. I apologize. I thought I did this ahead of time, but something built with this repository locally is out of sync. Now I have to rebuild all the things.
It actually worked in the beginning, right? So.
Yeah. Weird.
Yep.
Anyway, what did work for debugging was putting a breakpoint on the line that was complaining.
Yes.
This line. So we could try just running this code ourselves.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm actually not. I haven't used VS Code much, so it would be interesting to see how debugging works there. I just use Chrome DevTools everywhere.
You're gonna love it. It's basically the same thing. And by the same thing, I mean it has the same little annoyances where it's like, although the source code has one name, in actuality, because it's imported, it's under another name. So what is this?
Wait, it did the right thing, right? Cannot read flags of undefined. Can we break on error?
You're totally right. I mistook the error we were looking for an error we were not looking for.
Yep, that's the one. Is there like a stop on on code? Yeah, perfect. So let's do that.
All right. What the heck?
What's this?
Okay, can't read the source content, but I can look at the compiled version instead.
Yep.
Okie dokie.
Oh, here you go.
Beautiful.
So let's go a couple levels up.
Where's
We're checking if something is union type. Why does it not jump to the code?
I've never seen it not jump.
Okay.
Oh boy. Oh no. What's happening? Oh, I restarted the frame by accident.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Wait, hang on. What is happening? Well, that didn't work.
I think VS Code is cursed in my streams. Like every time I try to use it on the stream, I'm like, okay, I use WebStorm for a while, but now I'm gonna switch to VS Code, and then like nothing works, and I'm like, okay, back to VS Code.
Yeah, your curse is affecting my. I resent that. You bring me on here and then you break my computer. What is this? All right,
Not my fault. I support VS Code. Right.
I'm gonna keep going down. So the type that we're looking at is
my only concern is we don't know if this is the call or if will be like another call. You know what I mean? So just keep this in mind.
I think this is the right one because we put a breakpoint there, and then the first time we tried running in the debug
yes,
console.
You're right. Good call. Yes.
So actually, let's just restart one more time. Let's look at the node itself to see. I'm guessing this, because it's the first time, the node we're looking at is this one, the method with mouse. Cool.
Yep. Let's do some jumping. So there is no way we can make work the other direction.
Let's find out.
Let's try again.
All right, let's jump one more time. Why not?
Yep.
All right. Cool.
So it checks for is union type, but it doesn't want to go back and code, right?
It doesn't want to go back to the code. I've never seen this. This is bizarre. Oh, I didn't know you. I've never tried dragging. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Oh, now it
it's
did.
all these grayed out ones. Not allowing.
Can you right click on the gray ones? No, nothing useful.
Oh, it must be that these are where it couldn't load the call stack, and thus is looking at the JS file.
Oh, okay. It does know how to pick up the files. Okay.
Cool. I learned something today. Thank you. Also, still resentment.
We can also try Chrome DevTools or WebStorm.
I don't have a WebStorm logo.
Yeah.
What we can do is just what we can see is in the ESLint plugin, we're looking at is type read-only object.
Okay.
And we can see what the type getting complained about here is. So if we look in the locals, we see the type. Gonna minimize all this stuff.
Type object.
Yeah. And if we look at the where is this? There we go. The symbol for the type, we can see the members it has and the declarations.
Okay.
So no members, but there is one declaration from position 17 to 61. So if we look at the code, this is like the silliest, hackiest way to find what the thing looks like.
Okay.
You see that it's from the beginning, it goes from line 17 through line, also you can see here I have 18 selected, line 17 and 18 through line 61. So we can tell that the type that it's trying to check if it's read-only is this type right here.
Oh, you literally counted. Okay, so you wanna? That's funny. You wanna try and just delete everything in the bottom? Oh, but then it will not work because it will never call the thing, right?
I don't follow.
I was thinking like delete the bottom lines from 71 to 75, but then I realized it will never trigger the rule if we do that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So the problem is it's checking whether this object type, the type in the type system, is read-only, or rather a specific property in the object type is read-only.
Okay.
And the property it's looking for is the length property. But that actually kind of doesn't make sense because I think I see what's wrong. Oh my God, it's a mapped type issue. It's asking whether, so the rule, sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm very excited right now. This is very good. This is my caffeine. The rule says every object member, if you pass in a type, every member of that object must be read-only.
Mm-hmm.
And then it takes in this mapped type, and then it asks, is every member of that mapped type read-only? So now we're
Okay.
looking at this properties list, which has all these array properties on it, like length and toString and concat and reverse.
What?
And it's
Okay.
asking for each of those on the original type, is that read-only?
Okay.
But the type only has this mapped thing, this k and key of t. So it's
Yeah.
crashing because we're looking for our length and concat, all this on a type that doesn't have them.
Okay. So why does it think? Oh, so do we need to do like has own property?
That would be my guess.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is there like type get own properties on line 87?
Yeah, there should be some kind of type dot
Apparent.
own. Yeah, parent looks interesting. Let's
What's
debug again.
okay? But just to understand, where are we right now in which file? Is it
This is type read only, which is
which
a
which
helper used.
which project? Okay, so this is in eslint plugin.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to zoom out one more time for this one. Yeah, it's util dot is type read only, where util is, I guess, all of the utils, but it's within the same project. It's something in ESLint plugin itself.
Okay.
Is that the info you were looking for?
Yeah. No, I thought maybe we're in like TS utils already or something.
In fortunate, that would have been a nightmare to debug, given that my VS Code is broken for TS utils.
I mean, at some point we can switch to Chrome DevTools.
I've never tried that with Node locally, to be honest.
Oh, it's very easy.
You think you could show me through?
Of course, yeah.
Cool.
The only thing, oh yeah, we can like if we decide to go that way. And Dan is saying impressive window management. Dan is always mad at me because I have like a bunch of windows all over my screen, and only like the code only gets in like very small area. But I guess he's impressed by like how many things you control so quickly.
Thanks. Yeah, I tried not to do my normal like resize all the windows all the time everywhere strategy for streaming, but I like quick things. Oh boy,
That
that's all of them.
can we look at get properties and see what the difference is?
Also 34.
Same, right? So okay.
Let's look at type.
Is there like a flag for any of them, or like some kind of way to realize that it's not what we want?
There's a map type node for the like the syntax itself, but I don't know if there's anything for mapped. What is this mapper thing? That looks reasonable.
Now we're looking at the type, right?
Yeah. I am not familiar.
So what's type at all? Oh, so this is a type object. This is okay.
Maybe. Nope.
Nope.
I honestly don't know what to do here. As own property. Is this just the native object that has own property though? Yeah. That's not what we're looking for. I don't know. What we could do is check if the type. Yeah. So, is property read only in type?
Mm-hmm.
Is what's in TS utils. So we could go into that.
Okay.
Oh boy. So the first step in that we get is property that escaped name, which is in TypeScript itself. So I'm going to real quick and get out of there.
Got it.
But then if we go into TS utils,
Mm-hmm.
they're property read only in type. Oops. Gotta get rid of this extra window. There we go. So for every type in the type, what it's doing, it's asking what is the, oh boy. All right, so what we're checking is the type, does the type exist?
Wait, but
Sorry, I'm a little lost. I think I've
okay.
screwed up my cal stack location.
Okay. So
I feel like I'm just diving in here. Can you draw me back into where we should be?
yeah. So if so, I was wondering if those properties have a property which can help us distinguish if they are what we're looking for or not. Maybe.
Maybe. The property we're looking at is type.
Okay.
This type is what we're looking for.
Type.get properties, right? That's what we get.
Type.get properties. Yes.
Okay, so let's look at
One of them arbitrary. Let's say last index of, perhaps.
declarations. So is maybe one of the flags, but this thing has flags,
Yeah.
and it's our error says there are no flags.
So at some point in this code, one of these types is, aha, one of these types is complaining that it's undefined. Where the call stack.
So why is it undefined?
Go back to the call stack. There. Place the whack ends with actual new lines. And it's deep.
Okay.
Might have bitten off more than I can chew here.
I think we need to go back and figure out what exactly. Yeah, you wanna try Chrome DevTools?
Let's do that.
All right.
So what do I do here?
So go Chrome. Chrome / inspect. And then open dedicated DevTools for Node. I think you have to run it in a special way too. Click, see if this works. Probably will not. Yeah, close this. So how do you run the thing?
Great question.
Oh, do you just press run in?
Yeah, I think it's tasks.json I'm looking for.
Okay. So you can try. So when you yeah, so let's just run jest. I don't think we have to do that. So basically you can do what Dan suggested. So you can go node. I don't know what you're doing. This. Okay. Now go to Chrome, and then yeah.
Ooh. Oh, I've done this in for working on TypeScript in VS Code, where you manually attach the breakpoint, and I'm guessing that's what was breaking for us.
So instead of saying jest, I think you have to do like /node modules /bin/jest. I think I misspelled node modules.
That would explain the lack of autocomplete.
Yeah.
Nope.
Let's see if that worked.
Okay. So I've got.
Let's see if this worked.
Show off my window management again.
Close this one.
Close this.
Yeah. And yeah, just inspect. It should work, but let's. Okay.
Oh, I'm in the wrong directory.
Oh,
Now
that's
let's
fine.
try.
It should work, but let's.
Okay. From down in the chat, something like node modules just bin just.
Okay. That seems like it works. So you press the inspect brk, which means like run the thing and stop.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then this is because like sometimes you run something and by the time you open DevTools, it's basically done.
Yeah. Cool. So the actual file we were looking at was, or the test was prefer read-only parameter types. So
Yeah.
cool, thanks. I've never, it's funny, I've done node inspect break in VS Code, but I've never thought to use the Chrome debugger for it, but this is great.
Yeah, so
Like the
there
Chrome debugger.
is actually, I think it's called NDB. So that thing allows you to just say NDB and then you just say jest, I think, and then whatever you do, but you have to install it from npm. Cool. Do we get the right error?
Sort of. I have to go into the ESLint plugin package to run just from that.
Okay.
But I think I'll get it right soon.
We're getting there. I don't know why not bin. Maybe it's .bin or something. Nice. So now in Chrome DevTools, you can hit Control or Command P. Yeah, clear command, and then search for the file we are looking for. Yeah. Oh, you're there, right? So throw in a breakpoint, and then we can stop on error or whatever. And
oh, nice. I put the breakpoint in VS Code and was wondering why I wasn't hitting in Chrome.
yes, that might be related.
Prefer read-only parameter types, and it's
89,
Can I
right?
do this one?
No.
Oh, there we go. Cool. And how do I? Guess I hit enter or get it to run again?
Enter should be good, right? Oh no, waiting. If it says waiting for debugger to disconnect, it means it's done. Just restart it.
Forgot to put dash dash watch.
Yes, that would help.
Nice. Thank you for teaching me this. I really appreciate it.
Nice. Everybody is learning something. That's good. That's how I know a stream is good. We keep getting this. Yeah. Is it though? Is it a real error though? It seems like it's still running. Maybe just throws it in the console.
I don't know. I think it should have hit the breakpoint by now.
Yes.
After 30 seconds, I'm.
Yeah. Let's restart it.
Come on, just no.
Oh, same again.
So
you have to install the thing.
I don't know. The last time when I yarn build all, it took a while, and then it worked, and now it's crashing again. And honestly, I don't know how to fix that.
Well, let's yarn again. Yarn whatever build.
Maybe if I yarn from the package. Oh boy.
Yeah, that seems like some weird stuff. Oh, you can also do. I don't think we need run and bend just because we're just running one test, but you can throw in this flag after jest and see if it works. Okay.
I'm down.
Cool. Yeah, so it's building a bunch of stuff, right? Yep. Yeah, so what this thing does, it basically just tries to run a bunch of tests in parallel, and then when you debug, it might... Actually, I'm not sure why it would not stop in the right place. Oh, I think maybe it actually runs multiple node processes or something. Let's try run
Yeah,
and
maybe
bend.
there's a. Yeah, I like this. Maybe there's like a one node process is outputting when another is trying to do something.
Yep, let's try it out. I like the colors. Cool.
Yeah.
Boom.
Okay. And here we go.
All right, the moment of truth. All right, so now
Woo!
add the stop on exception.
Very exciting.
It's the top right corner thing, which looks like a stop sign. Yeah.
Oh my God. The same thing.
How?
Why?
Okay. So it's not always learning for nothing. I assume that might be like VS Code optimizing something. I mean, we can technically just jump into this file, right?
We can jump into the.
And see what's going on here.
So the TS file doesn't exist, but the JS file does. And the issue is
Let's
the call
disable source
stack
maps.
lists the TS file.
Can we disable source maps? So
They are
just go
disabled.
to settings. Yeah, the gear. Yeah, and then there should be like...
Ah, you're right.
Yep. Let's see this. Oh,
Oh,
perfect.
nice.
Nice, okay.
Very nice. You did it.
Yeah,
All this learning for something.
I actually never ever use source maps. I always disable them because there always something like this happens. Cool. Now we finally... Okay, so this is already undefined.
I'm just moving up the
Aha.
call stack here.
Modifiers type.
The heck is that? Oh, this is interesting. The call stack includes from mapped type. So TS utils realizes that it's a mapped type.
Yes.
And it's trying to.
So what is a modifiers type?
Well, then you tell me that. I actually don't know. Let's look it up.
Yes.
And this is another issue with working on this type of stuff. People don't often look up parts of the TypeScript AST.
No, but is it even?
Nope.
Okay. Oh, you're looking into...
I'm looking at the TypeScript source code, which actually, fun fact, does have a symbol walker built in.
But it's not exposed, right? Is it?
Not that I know of. Maybe it is now, but not when I last checked.
There was some npm package which basically just exposed all the hidden TypeScript stuff, and yeah.
I'm sure the TypeScript team loves that.
I mean, they should expose that somehow. Okay, so you wanna check what the actual type is?
Yeah.
It says modifiers type is optional, right?
Yes. Now that we're in VS Code, we can play around. Now that we're debugging in Chrome, we can play around in
yeah.
VS Code. So maps type is an internal type, actually,
Oh,
as
is
we
it?
see here, the TypeScript.
Oh,
So it's not exported.
okay.
I'm gonna pop up the tsutils repo. So
Okay.
I don't have it up locally. I'm just gonna git clone. What is tsutils? So what I want to do now is see like what is the tsutils definition for these functions.
I was so impressed you were actually trying to type in the URL. I always like go and copy paste it.
I normally would be able to do it. It's just I don't know how many F's are in Ajax name ever.
Oh.
Right. So it's modifier type or some such. What was it? Modifier is typed. So here we go.
Okay. So
So
we're
this is the
here.
function that's crashing or causing the
Yes.
crash.
So
They're assuming modifiers type exists, but we know just from looking at the TypeScript source code, it's actually potentially undefined.
wait, what is this dark magic with the angle brackets on 289? So they cast
Uh,
it twice, or I haven't seen that before. It's like modifiers type, TS type, and unknown.
yeah. Yes. So this angle bracket type is how you used to cast things in TypeScript.
But
So
why do you cast it to unknown?
because the type itself isn't of a type that has this assignable to it. So if you were to try to directly cast it to this
Oh, got
type,
it.
it would fail.
So basically it's as
I know.
unknown as modifiers TS type.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense.
If you were to not do that, I guess I don't have TypeScript installed or yarns or whatever here, so I can't TSC just yet. But it would throw some kind of type checking complaint.
Nice. Okay. Can you undo this? I want to see it again.
Actually, let me copy it as a comment first.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that looks terrible. Cool.
Here, let's see it. Okay, I just yarned and okay, yeah,
Uh-huh.
not assignable.
Okay. So, and the reason it does this is because the mapped type is actually private in TypeScript, internal, right?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Um, so what else are they doing here? Decorators, right? Declaration. Is it for no? What's this regex for?
Oh my God. It's saying it's I'm so proud of myself. I've recently started getting good at reading regular expressions, and I've
Uh-huh.
been writing JavaScript for a decade. It's something that starts with 200,
Uh-huh.
2 underscores and an ampersand, perhaps
Yeah.
with an oh sorry with an at, perhaps
Uh-huh.
with another
And this is
at.
not at. So it's anything. So it's I think it looks like underscore at and everything which is not at.
Gotcha.
With
Nice.
at least one. Okay.
Cool.
And then test. I don't know what the meaning of this thing though, but okay.
Yeah, this decorators thing, I'm guessing this is a decoration thing. This is not hitting because we're getting to this line. So
Yeah.
the issue here is that this typed modifiers type is undefined, but is property read only and type assumes that what it's taking in is defined.
So you wanna go back and look in the DevTools what actually is there? What's the actual type? Yeah.
Good idea. Can I get this? Okay. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So this is my type.
Oh, there it is.
How do I know? You wanna try and find it in the AST?
So you can't see types in the AST. The naming is confusing, and I wish it weren't so. But there's this type node here with
Mm-hmm.
the stuff inside of it.
Okay.
Cat or dog or cat. So there's this
Whoa.
type node, which is called a type node.
Uh-huh.
And then there's separately in the type system an understanding of this type, which is itself called, wait for it, a type. But
Okay.
the two are completely different, and the types often have names. So if we go to type dot modifiers type or type itself, and we see that it has an alias symbol with
Okay.
escape name my type, that's a type system understanding that you would generally refer to this type as my type because of the node in the AST that called it my type.
Okay. Okay. I'm so confused. Show me the AST again.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So if you
in
click on my type, that would be what, identifier, right?
yes.
And it's wrapped in TS alias declaration. And then what we're looking is TS map type, right? Or no? Or are we
What we're
looking?
looking at
What's this thing?
what we're looking at this type here
Oh, so it's
is
not.
in the type system.
Oh, so it's not even AST thing, right? It's
Yeah. If
uh,
they if they had instead called uh, referred to these as interfaces and allowed this type of thing to exist in interfaces,
okay.
I think it would be a lot easier to understand this because you would have an interface here with a corresponding type in the type system.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, instead of calling this an interface, they called it a type.
Ah, okay. So we extracted this type of my type, which is TypeScript internal thing, and it. Hmm. So what the real type of this thing? Can we figure it out?
What do you mean by the real type?
Like, is it map typed? Mapped type? Mapper. It has a
Um,
mapper.
I don't know what this mapper does.
I
I've
have no
never seen
idea.
this before in my life.
Can we look at
I
the
will.
Can we look at the type for map type? Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh no, no. When you say look at the type for map type,
Uh,
where I think this is the type for map type, no?
oh no, you had it open in you have opened like TypeScript code, and there was like a mapped what was it?
Right. Where was
So
that?
I wanna see if it resembles this thing. That looks different, right?
This one?
Oh, do you see the anonymous types? It has a mapper.
Instantiation mapper.
Okay. Um. So it
I
has.
can open this locally.
Okay, so I think what the problem is, even if we pass then just discover that you can disable source maps in okay, sorry, in VS Code. So if you feel like debugging VS Code, we can jump there, or we can just keep using DevTools.
I'm okay with keeping DevTools, but that's definitely good to know for next time.
Cool. So my guess is it seems like it is a map. Okay, what's going on here? Type.
This is the TypeScript source code,
Uh-huh.
which normally one would not want to have to debug through for one of these bugs. Normally it would just be a like typecast where it shouldn't be assuming something, but we've gone real deep today.
Type
I,
mapper. Simple array function composite. Or composite. Okay. So, but I think like if we get back to like what the issue is if there are no modifier types, what would be the right behavior here? Right? Do we just return nothing?
Good question.
You wanna jump through the call stack down, or like basically inside, and see like if there is any point where where it doesn't assume it's always defined.
Not sure.
Okay.
So for each.
So here we can only see it used in one place, right?
Yeah.
Let's actually go other direction.
You're hoping to go
Yeah.
back up to its union type.
One more down. Yeah, here. Okay, so here it already assumes that it exists, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So is property read only? Oh, I see what you're saying. My apologies. I misunderstood at
Right.
first. Is property read only in type takes in this type which is thought to be defined but is undefined,
Yes.
and immediately we try to get the union type parts of it and
Yes.
fail because union type parts assumes it exists. Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah. So basically, we probably should not even call this method, right?
Yeah.
But there is no good answer, like if a type doesn't have anything. So how about this? How about we try and add some modifiers to that type? Can we do that in the test?
Modifiers.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
Wherever
yeah,
that
but by
test
the way,
went.
it's 2 p.m. I don't know if you have a bit more time.
I've got another half hour.
Okay, cool.
Like this type of modifier you're
Yeah,
thinking?
let's see if it works.
Let's do it.
Let's see if it appears there.
All right, so I've modified it, finished the current test run.
Yep.
It should be in watch mode, so if I hit save, we trigger it again. I hit save on my keyboard, and now we're triggering it again.
Okay.
So we go back to where we were.
Oh. Okay.
Look at this, it passed.
It passed, yes. So,
That's,
I mean,
let me go back to that. Where did we? Oh, it's going again. I'll remove the breakpoint. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that back in this thing, if we don't have a type.modifiers type, I think we should return. I think that's safe to say.
but we have to cast it to the ugly thing.
Oh boy. Oh boy. So for this, I would do a custom type guard where we say type is type, and what is it? Modifiers type ts.type. These are both ts dots. I would do something like this.
Nice.
Thank God for these new TypeScript features.
Nice. Okay. Oh, you can actually return undefined. Nice.
Yes. Personally, I would set up my repo to always explicitly return undefined, but
Okay.
I guess this repo doesn't have that convention set up.
Oh.
I'm not here to judge.
All right. Should we do it in the beginning? Should we? Or no, right? Because we do this other check.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
All right. Cool. I think.
So now we undo all the other tests and okay, let's verify this passes, right? We have to continue in DevTools.
I'm gonna make the actual change in the JavaScript file. Get rid of all these. I wish there was a feature where if you copy and pasted from a TypeScript file into a JavaScript file, it would offer to just remove the type annotations. That's good.
Oh, that would be nice. I would not be surprised if WebStorm does it, but haven't tried.
A subtle shade right there. All right, cool. So I'm still debugging VS Code. So if I put the breakpoint back and then hit save on this file, I'm sorry, I said VS Code, I meant Chrome. Am I still debugging in Chrome?
I think so.
There we go. All right. And if we do, say, util.isType, read only checker type.
Oh, you really don't like copy pasting. It says it's
If I
read-only though.
I'm so used to having to do like util_1 dot util or whatnot. But yes, the copy
Yes.
pasting is my normal. I agree.
All right.
Cool. So if we fixed it,
But do you think it's correct value because it's not? Is it even read-only?
you're right. I actually don't think it's fixed. In the test.
Oh, it
Oh,
is
no, it is
read-only.
read-only.
Right.
Well, let's find out now if we update the test and save.
Nice.
Wow, look at that.
Nice.
Cool. Well, I feel good about this. How do you feel?
Yeah. But wait, so we fixed it in a different package, right?
Yeah.
So do we create two pull requests? One with tests and one with the fix for that package?
Good question. I don't know where these tasks JSON file came from. Yeah, I'm guessing we'll have to send a pull request to tsutils, and then once that is merged and they release a new version on npm, we can send a updated tests pull request to Typescript ESLint.
Okay. Sounds good. You wanna send the pull request to tsutils now?
Sure. Right now?
Right. Yeah.
That's
It seems like it should be pretty simple.
I always do git add all and git status just to make sure I'm committing the right stuff because I previously committed secrets and I don't wish to do that to anyone again.
Ooh, I once I was working on something and I downloaded an image, like a logo or something, and then all my other images got downloaded there, and then I committed a bunch of basically my download folder. So yeah, I feel that.
That's horrifying. All right.
What?
I'll admit sometimes I find it faster just to type the thing out instead of going to Chrome. I like practicing my
Wow,
typing.
that's so impressive.
I didn't come here to brag, but I'll take it.
Cool.
And where's that? TS. I mean, I normally use Brave, but didn't want to risk a potentially older browser. I love it. On GitHub, if the file is so big that it exceeds what Chrome can handle, it's just a poorly performing file.
Oh yes, but that's many lines.
Yeah.
All right.
Does this look reasonable to you as a PR?
Yeah, I don't know why it's screwed up. Maybe paste in VS Code, format, and throw it back.
Yeah, good call.
Nice. No, I think that's very good.
I'll just get rid of this excess stuff.
Yep.
Cool. Oh shoot, I forgot my co-authored by. What's your
KIRJS.
AIR JS?
Single
Did I get that
R.
right?
Yeah. Yep, it's good.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yay, we did it.
Okay. We so outside of the stream, you're gonna add the test to the other thing, and then we're good. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. That was
Awesome.
a successful stream.
I'm sorry, we had talked about you coding on one of these, and I'm sorry that I hogged it for so long.
I mean,
Maybe
I
next.
don't think it's ever easy to fix things, but I also realized that I would have to set up the repository and stuff, and that would basically take a while. So I think that went really well. We found the bug, we fixed the bug. So cool.
Feels good, man.
All right. Thanks a lot, Josh, and thanks Dan for your help. And see you on the next stream.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Any last words?
This was fun. Much
Yes.
appreciated.
All right. Bye, everyone.